The Suzuki Alto Works did not come with a boost gauge as standard. There is a little light on the dash that shows you when you're building boost pressure, but that's it. It's just a little light that comes on. So I am curious, could I build a weird boost gauge for this? I don't really care about measuring the exact bar number, but I just want to build something that's as quirky as this car. I've got a really cheap boost gauge here. Let's see what we can get done. So here is the cheap boost gauge. Just got a screen protector on at the moment, but it's a kind of a smoked finish on the front. Not that I really care. It just has one electrical cable, which is for an LED to light it up. And then there is a boost pipe here where it comes with this hose. Oh, and a T-piece. So the only thing I've done here is this is to typically mount it to in behind the dash, and there's this kind of clamp here. I've taken off the bolts for that. I was hoping that maybe the face of this was held on by this nut here, but it doesn't appear to be. It looks like it's a pressure fit here. This is actually clipped on. The plastic flexes over a lip and just stays in place. I want to get this lip off because basically I want to get this glass section taken away. Okay, I'm fairly sure there's a little lip in there. So what I'm going to do is cut this and then see if I can just separate it and pull it off. Okay, let's see the smoked glass here. And the boost gauge. Now to test this, I might just blow into this, just make sure it's actually working. Probably should have done that before taking it apart, but anyway. Okay, so it does appear to be working. What I would say is it's definitely not on the accurate side of things. Even just moving it around, it seems to vary quite a lot. It's just above the 0 bar. Obviously it should be 0 at the moment. Kind of interesting setup here. This obviously pushes this coil out, which is almost like a very thin spring, like you'd see in a watch inside there. And as that moves, it springs this whichever direction. So what I want to do is basically take off this hand and change both the face and the hand itself. And then 3D print something, well, I'll explain. Some updates on my silly project. I did try and 3D print a kind of a fascia to go into where the stereo used to be, but my printer is not playing ball at the moment and it was a total disaster. So I went down a more manual route. I took an old number plate that I had and bent it into roughly the right shape. These are the brackets that hold the stereo in place in behind the dash. And I have cut a hole in this. The idea here is that this boost gauge is going to sit in here behind the hole, and the center of it is going to be lined up with there. I will then take, this is the cap that was on this little centerpiece here, and clip that on, and I'm currently gluing this at the moment, and it's on a piece of kind of semi hard plastic, and I've glued a bolt to it. I don't know, this whole setup might be too heavy, but basically the idea is that that'll get clipped through this hole, and then the rest of the sticker will be put alongside here. Now I'll spray this black or plastic dip it or something like that, but the idea is basically that Popeye's arm will go up with the boost. Just test fitting in this backing plate now. Seems to fit pretty tight here around the fascia. Looks good. Okay, I have everything together now. It's just a matter of putting it in the car. So this is the cage that was originally attached to the original stereo that was in the car, the head unit. This is this bended piece here is the registration plate that I had heated up and bent. This is the gauge here, which I've chopped up a little bit and then hot glued to the back. I won't be running any electrical cables to this because all the LED lights will be in behind this whole setup, so there'll be no point in lighting it up because you wouldn't see the LEDs. And this is the vacuum line that will be attached along with a T-piece to the turbo pressure. So on the back of Popeye here, this is a very flimsy sticker, but I've tried to reinforce it with some plastic, and this is his arm. So what I have here is, again, some of that reinforced plastic glued to a bolt, glued to the cap that was originally on that boost gauge. So I'm hoping this is all going to be strong enough that when I click this on, it will stay there. And I'll only be able to do this because the fascia kind of goes in behind this. I'll only be able to click this arm on finally when it's all installed in the car. And the theory is basically as the boost builds, his arm goes up like this. And possibly if it goes into negative boost, it might go down a bit. So I'll just have to play that by ear and see how it goes. Worst case scenario, if I've calibrated this wrong or the direction of it needs to be changed, it's only hot glue, so I can just pull that off, turn it a little bit, and then it'll be good to go. I have now run a vacuum line from the map sensor here, just teed it in and brought it through and in through the bulkhead and into the cabin. First test drive is done and it was a failure. Basically this is attached to the needle and this had too much weight. It was kind of pulling the needle down and you could see it trying to move, but there was just too much weight on this side of it. So what I'm going to try and do is actually put some weight on this side of it, and hopefully that will kind of balance it out and it'll not require as much kind of pressure to lift up. So I had previously had this nut glued to kind of space it out from the gauge, and I just turned the nut sideways to allow me to thread in a bolt into that, and this will kind of weigh it down, and this won't be a precise art, so I can try different bolts and different weights and see if I can find something that will counteract the weight of this. It's not very heavy, but it's just a sticker on some kind of plastic card, but obviously when the needle itself is very, very lightweight, so this was impacting it too much. Let's see how this goes. First test drive with the boost gauge. There's something weird going on with the idle. I don't see how this could have anything to do with the boost and tapping off there, but it wasn't doing this before. It's idling way too high and it's dropping down every so often. There's also a crazy rattle coming from in behind the dash, so that's where the boost gauge is, I tapped into for the boost. I mean, there's a chance I might have disturbed some cables or something under here when I was putting the tube through the vacuum hose. But anyway, I'll show you how all this works. Working exactly as I was hoping it would, just a couple of teething problems, so I'll just double check all of the vacuum hoses, make sure there's nothing impacting there. I might disconnect the vacuum hose and see is that idle issue still happen. As you can see, this little bolt here is what's helping it be weighted and balanced, which isn't ideal. I suppose I could paint it black or something, but it is working like I hoped now. Yeah, really high idle again. Okay, I'm a dumbass. Human error. Here's what I did. These two pipes here, I had disconnected to get through the vacuum pipe through the bulkhead grommet here, and I put them back on the wrong way around. So that one was on there, that one was on there. It's idling perfectly now. Joy! So there you have it. That was my Popeye boost gauge. Hope you liked it. Slán.